I remember having a few distinct thoughts. The first one was, I'm really going to die. Hey guys, it's Randy, and today we're going to be talking about something a bit more serious. I want to share my story about my struggle with depression with everyone so that hopefully if anyone out there is watching and they're struggling with depression, they can pull inspiration from my story and hopefully get through theirs. Most of my issues began around February and March of 2016. I was feeling very insecure. I started to drink in order to just drown my feelings so that I wouldn't feel as sad all the time. It got to the point where I was drinking almost every night and just being shit-faced drunk all the time. So, I was drinking probably from mid-February up until May of 2016, and it was like an every night thing. I would just drink and drink and drink and attempt to make myself feel better, which it really didn't. So we get into June of 2016, and I began to smoke marijuana with a group of friends. So at first it was just like a recreational thing. We would just smoke, hang out, and just chill. But for me, it eventually led into chronic use, and I began smoking every day. So after smoking every day for about a month, I started to feel more comfortable with who I was and my gender identity, and I decided that I would come out to my friends as a transgender female. I did this thinking it was going to fix all my problems and make me feel way better and all that shit, and it really didn't. So I went ahead and come out, and the feedback I got from everyone was pretty great. Everyone was supportive, but although they were supportive, they didn't really acknowledge the fact that I was identifying as a female now. They were still using male pronouns and just shit like that, and it really wasn't, it was like nothing had changed. So after I realized like nothing really changed after coming out, everything got even darker. I was smoking even more than what I was before, like multiple times a day. This went on until about October of 2016, and at that point I had gotten to complete apathy. My depression had finally just consumed me. I didn't care about anything, I didn't care about myself, I didn't care if I lived, I was done with everything. Well, at that point I was smoking from the time I woke up until I went to sleep in order to try to make myself feel something. And it really didn't work. I was just smoking bowl after bowl, blunt after blunt, just doing whatever I could to try to make up for what I wasn't feeling. And eventually in November of 2016, I got into some trouble and got caught by my family, and they flipped their shit, which, I mean, that's to be expected. I was a minor at the time, and I was smoking in an illegal state, and yeah. So after my parents had found out that I was smoking weed and all that shit, they basically, grounded me from everything. I wasn't able to do anything, go anywhere, which, I mean, that's to be expected. Well, being at home all the time in an environment where I felt that I could not present as my true self, my depression and anxiety just got even worse than what it was. It got to the point where I was having anxiety attacks and feelings of self-harm. And eventually I acted on those feelings and I began to cut myself. Cutting myself has been something that I've struggled with for maybe 4 or 5 years, honestly. And to go back to this after being in recovery for about 2 years, it was devastating for me. In the midst of a panic attack, my mother was around. She realized that I was on the verge of a panic attack, and we began to talk, and I broke down to her and I came up to her as a transgender female. I explained my reasoning for the drug use and why I felt the way I did. At first she seemed pretty accepting of everything. She told me that she just wanted me to be happy, which, girl, that's good. That's what you should want for your kid. But my stepdad, on the other hand, wasn't as accepting as her. So basically I was out to everyone at this point, but because of my family's thoughts and opinions of the transgender community, I was unable to present myself as a female in any way. I was still having to present myself as a male full time. So since I was still presenting as a male, I kept having the thought that I didn't want to be a male. I did not want to live my life as a boy. So we get into January, and I just started antidepressants, and the first week that I'm on antidepressants, my depression just gets even worse, to the point where I'm having suicidal thoughts, which I had never had before. It was very scary for me because I did not know what was going on in my head. I did not know why I felt this way, and it was heartbreaking. But I talked to my parents about the fact that I was having the suicidal thoughts, and we all agreed that going to a mental hospital would be best for me at that time. So I went to the hospital, and everyone there was amazing. I was in an environment where people accepted me as a transgender female, and they used correct pronouns, and they also asked me what my preferred name is and just things like that. So I felt great in there. I get out of the hospital about a week and a half later, and I'm back into the same environment that I was before. At first I was feeling a little bit better coming out of the hospital, but after about a week or two, things weren't as great. But my parents decided that they would let me start to go back out with friends occasionally. Well, when I would go out with friends, I started to buy alcohol and bring it home and to start drinking again. Once again, I was drinking just about every night to drown out my feelings. And at that point, being depressed, like being extremely depressed and drinking alcohol just wasn't a good mix. Eventually, I got the courage to smoke marijuana again, and bad idea. So one night I was drunk and high at the same time, and I decided that I was going to kill myself. I had the thought in my head that I did not want to live as a boy, and if I could not live as a girl, then I just want to die. So with that thought process, I had stopped taking my antidepressants and saving them up, and I planned my suicide out. I got drunk one night and I took 40 pills. After taking the pills, it was almost maybe an immediate effect. Everything started to get extremely fuzzy. It was just, I felt like I was just blacking out. But while I was in that stage of just everything being fuzzy, I remember having a few distinct thoughts. The first one was, I'm really going to die. And then I realized I didn't want to die. I realized that it didn't matter if I had to live as a boy or a girl, I just wanted to live as me, and I do want to live. So I wake up in the emergency room, and my family surrounded me just completely shocked. They had no idea that I was planning a suicide, or they weren't expecting it at all. From the emergency room, I was transferred back to the mental hospital that I was at before. This time I went there with a different perspective, determined to get the help that I needed so that I could live my life. Being in there this time was a little bit different than last time. This time there were people in there that I could really relate to. And one person in particular shared their story. It inspired me to stop focusing on all the shit around me that I can't control and to focus on my life and what I can control. So I get out of the hospital about a week later, and I talk to my family, and I just tell them that I'm sorry for everything that I've put them through, and that I did plan to get better. So here we are now, and it's been about a month and a half since that suicide attempt, and I am doing 100 times better. I have not cut myself or done anything like that since the beginning of January. I've not had any more suicidal thoughts or anything like that, and I came to the realization that the current situation that I am in does not define who I am. So instead of focusing on all the negative aspects of my life, I started to focus on the positive things in my life. Yes, I'm in an environment where I cannot be myself, but I can either throw my life away, or I can better myself so that eventually I can get myself in an environment where I am able to be my true, authentic self. And that's what I was doing. I began to get on my schoolwork, get finished with all of that. I'm currently looking at an apartment, and I'm looking into starting my hormone replacement therapy this summer. So with all that being said, I'm hoping that some of you can find some inspiration from my story and use it to better your life and get through your struggle and just be happy, because that's all I want for anyone out there. I want everyone to be happy and realize that although your situation may suck, it is temporary and you will get through this. So with all that being said, if you need any advice, you can either comment down below, or I can leave an email in my description box that you can contact me with and ask me privately. If you enjoyed the video and you would like to see more videos like this, then let me know. Also, comment, like, and subscribe, and until next time,